Welcome to the Midwest Blitz. It's college football comfort food for the Midwest soul. Now, here are your hosts, Coach Drew and Big Nick.
Welcome to another edition of the Midwest Blitz. Yup.
So me and Coach Drew ready to preview the Indiana-Miami National Championship game, which all Big Ten fans should be excited about because there will not be an SEC champion, and you should be excited because the Indiana Hoosiers are going to be the first team to win their first national championship since when, Coach Drew? Do you know the answer? 1996, Florida is the last team to win a national championship for the first time. So we're kind of breaking new ground here. Not just for Indiana, but in college football, we're kind of breaking the blue blood status. To lead off, Coach Drew, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why Indiana will win this football game. Coach Drew, tell everybody why we're wearing black today.
Today we're wearing black because we're going to Miami's funeral.
Correct, sir. 3 reasons why Indiana is going to win this football game. Number 1, Indiana is the better coach team, and that's not an insult to Cristobal, but there is nobody in the country at this point that could hold a candle to explain why they coach as well as Cignetti, let alone his staff and his defensive coordinator, Bryant Haynes, who is like the new Buddy Ryan of the 85 Bears back in the day, or even Nick Saban with the Rip Liz match concepts, which Indiana does some of that. Indiana is the better coach team. And the main reason, Drew, why they are the better coach team, as we've talked about all year, is that if you give Indiana a surprise, if you sneak up on Indiana, if you start winning a phase of the game that they didn't expect, they make an adjustment. They have an adjustment to everything. Indiana is full of in-game adjustments as a coaching staff. I'm not saying that Miami's not a well-coached team. That's not what we're saying, Coach Drew, as we attend this funeral. We don't want to speak ill of the dead, okay? But Indiana is the best coach team in the whole country. And I think Cristobal was underrated as a coach, and the adjustments that they made at Miami at the end of the year were very good. So this is not shade at Miami about having a bad coaching staff, but you don't have Cignetti, and you don't have Bryant Haynes, and you don't have Shanahan as your OC. Coach Drew, the second reason why Indiana is going to win this game is because IU's roster is way more athletic than most people realize. You've heard the stories, the fairy tale, I would call it at this point. Well, Indiana just doesn't have the athletes, and Indiana's undermanned here, and Indiana's unmanned here, there, everywhere. It's not true. So let me give you a few examples. So Deangelo, who is now widely recognized as the all-American badass cornerback that he is, that he should have been recognized as last year. When Pons came out of high school, he was listed 150 pounds on his scouting report. Well, he's now listed between 170 and 175. That means you took a kid who was very athletic but not big enough and added 25 pounds of muscle onto his frame. And there ain't an ounce of fat on that kid, I promise you. You took a guy like that. What was his deficiency? Size. He's beefed up now, and he hits like a hammer. If you don't believe us, ask Ty Simpson and the Crimson Tide. We took Pat Coogan, who was allowed to leave Notre Dame because they thought they had guys that had more upside than him. Upside means athletic potential. Well, what has Pat Coogan done? Pat Coogan and his slow, big ass is downfield 20 yards recovering a fumble by Fernando Mendoza, which was ill-advised, Coach Drew, by the way. We didn't dog on him the last episode, but we should. But Pat Coogan is so unathletic that he's playing the center position on offense and is 20 yards downfield recovering a fumble by his quarterback. He's also the first one in the end zone to give his wide receivers or running backs a high five and celebrate with them when they score a touchdown. It's because he's unathletic, Coach Drew, according to the pundits. And then my last one is Elijah Surratt, the Waffle House. Coach Drew, the Waffle House is open 24/7, as you're aware, as IU fans are aware. Well, if we go out right now in track shoes on the track, me and you probably shouldn't run because we're probably way past doing any of that. But if we take all the players out there and Elijah Surratt runs a 40, a 100, a 200, he is not going to blow your socks off with pure straight line speed. But you know what he does do, Coach Drew? He's physical. He's got great hands. He's agile. He reads the play well. So all 3 of these players, Pons, Coogan, and Surratt, within the roles that they perform on their football team, they are elite They are physically elite. And this is what football recruiting has turned into, like a beauty contest and a track meet. Oh, what's your 40 time? What's your height and weight? What's your bench press reps? How much can you squat? How much do you weigh? All this crap. Dude, that's not what makes an athlete. What makes an athlete is putting you in a position to be successful on the field. And when you do that at a championship caliber, the way these guys for Indiana are doing it, it should help some people rethink their vision of what a successful football roster looks like. And the greatest coaches of all time have always known that you take a good athlete, put them in the right position, they become a great player. The third reason why Indiana is going to win this game, Coach Drew, is that Miami's strengths, a strong offensive and defensive line, smash mouth, physical mentality, their strengths at the core of it are the same as Indiana's. And so every time we break a game down here and every time I break a game down, I try and see like what strength does this team have that the other team doesn't have, or what mismatch do we have here? Do we have a great wide receiver that the other team cannot cover? Do we have a better O-line than your D-line? Do we have a quarterback that operates better in the clutch? And both of these quarterbacks have operated well in the clutch. None better than Fernando Mendoza, but Carson Beck has been pretty great as of recent also. But that's the third reason, Coach Drew, is Miami's strengths do not take advantage of any potential weakness that Indiana might have. So I think for Miami to win this game, besides the obvious, if Indiana commits unforced errors, penalties, turnovers, things of that nature, obviously that would help Miami. But for Miami to beat Indiana with the strategy that they've mowed their way through the college football playoff with, which I love, and I have said it here on the show, and Coach Drew would agree with me, we love Miami's physicality. We love their commitment, true commitment to the running game. That's what won them the A&M game when it was windy out. It was hard to throw the ball, hard to kick field goals. But the problem is that Indiana is good at all of those things also. Miami does not have better athletes on the outside than Indiana does. They don't.
Well, I thought that was beautiful and well put. What's the head coach for Indiana's name again?
Curt Cignetti. You should Google him, Coach Drew.
Curt Cignetti?
Cignetti?
That's what I thought was going on.
The Cignetti equation.
Yes. Well, let's just talk about this. I know athletes, you know athletes. We tend to have an idea if we have to pick a team, whether what sport we're playing, basketball, football, or baseball, we kind of have an idea of what guys we want. Maybe you might even have some friends that have kids, you know? And I don't know if I'm going to draw a picture here, but Cristobal went into the transfer portal and went for the beautiful, what did they say he looks like? He looks like the guy from Ice Age, Sid?
Carson Beck is allegedly similar in comparison to the sloth from Ice Age.
Now, he might have went there because of the twins, and the twins there might have had some influence on who they picked for quarterback because he was dating one of them. But then he cheated on him. Listen, I'm not here for gossip. This isn't TMZ, right? But man, how far Mendoza, who knows where the volleyball courts are, he's going to be walking around campus in Miami, and people are like, have you been here before? He's like, yeah, I live down the street. I mean, I can't think of any other situation where you get to come back to your hometown, right, with a new program that's never won anything before and prove to everybody that you matter, right? Here, I'm going to ask you a question, pretty easy. Who won the Heisman this year? Fernando Mendoza?
Fernando Mendoza.
Or Carson Beck? The answer is Carson Beck did not win it. I'm very curious upon how far did Mendoza get? Did he stop in Indiana? He didn't make it to Florida? Did Cignetti cancel his flights? Did he go, yeah, so your flight was canceled because you're signing here? I mean, this kid's smart. He does all the right things. You know what? I'll say it. Maybe he's not a convict. Maybe he just doesn't have the mentality Miami does. Maybe he's not a party boy. Maybe he's not all about that, you know? And he's in the Midwest where he's always belonged, where he's always been called, right? And he's doing stuff. This guy, when we're looking at who's better coach, let's look at better recruiting, right? You literally got outclassed in your back door. You know what's going to happen on Tuesday morning after Cignetti lifts up the trophy and they're playing in Miami?
What's going to happen, Coach Drew?
They're going to show Fernando Mendoza holding not only the Heisman and the Natty, and then they're going to show that he went to Christopher Columbus High School down the street, Nick. We are at Cristobal's funeral of Miami. How do you miss that? How do you miss that?
How do you miss this, Coach Drew?
Hold on. This reminds me, this is a quick rip. This reminds me of the time that we found Osama bin Laden, okay, outside the airport of a military base that we were working with.
I saw him at the liquor store the other day.
This is the same thing. He was down the street the whole time. I can't think of another story of another university that flopped this bad in this situation.
Here's my rip, Coach Drew. Not only is Fernando Mendoza my favorite quarterback in the world, from Miami, from Christopher Columbus High School, apparently his dad was friends with Mario Cristobal and didn't offer him a scholarship. Then when you went transfer portal hunting for a quarterback, you went to Georgia? Georgia? Come on now. The favorite son was available, and he was on the left coast, the wrong coast, Coach Drew.
Maybe Cristobal got one of those bad ads that says SEC, it just means different. And he's like, that's where I need to go get my quarterback in the transfer portal.
SEC, it just means more until it's playoff time, or until you have to play defense, or until Nick Saban retires.
Well, Nick, don't forget, we can't be on this podcast too long. We have to travel south and help Paul Philbaum pack up his house because the SEC is not winning another national championship.
The Feinbaum residence of Paul Feinbaum.
So as we're ripping all these jokes and all these ploys about what's going on with the Miami and Indiana game, we do got to take care of some Southern folks. Just want to let you guys know, hypothetically, Indiana would never SEC because that's undefeated. So I think Nick was looking through his notes. He might be looking for Paul Philbaum's address, as we're looking for it right now, because he did remind us all that if the SEC team does not win a national championship, he's going to leave. Wow. Who would have thought the South would go this soft? How about that, Nick?
My God. Well, I mean, if he leaves the country, he'd be better off for all of us. Coach Drew was on the phone with me during the pre-show meeting. I was letting my dog out, and my dog, Mr. Bear, heard him say, Paul Feinbaum, go get him. And my dog started dragging me southerly direction towards the Mason-Dixon line. I was like, Bear, no, not now, not now. Heel, boy, heel. But yeah, Paul Feinbaum has no place in actual sports commentary. If you made it this far into the show, at least you know, well, maybe our phrase doesn't work today, but we talk ball, not nonsense here on the Midwest Blitz. We've been watching these teams all year, so we're not bullshitting you and just saying that Indiana's going to win. And we will get roasted heavily for our black funeral costumes should Miami win the game, but I just don't see how that's going to happen, which brings me, Coach Drew, to key players and matchups for each team. So I'm going to lead with Miami, and we're going to go over injuries also. But so for Miami, I feel like their defensive tackles, Ahmed Motor and Justin Scott, who have both been freaking junkyard dogs all year. I love this Miami defensive line. They are the key to the defense right now, in addition to all of the other badasses they have on this defense. Keontae Scott might be my favorite player, although it's hard to pick. I really like this Miami Hurricanes team. I just don't think they're going to beat Indiana. The two defensive tackles, Moton and Justin Scott. Justin Scott's the one, Irish fans, if you're watching, that ran out and blew up the screen pass against Notre Dame. And he wears like number 4 or number 5. And I'm like, oh man, that's a big linebacker. Oh, that's not a linebacker. That's a defensive tackle. That's the play recognition skills and defensive line coaching that Hall of Fame Miami Dolphin Jason Taylor has given to this defensive line. The defensive line is the key to the game. And I picked the defensive tackles, Coach Drew, because if they can command double teams and shut things down the middle, it will open it up on the edge for Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor, two players that I've enjoyed watching all year. But if they're not able to dominate in the middle against Pat Coogan and the interior offensive line of Indiana, then Indiana will have more liberty, more freedom to chip and double team guys on the edge like Bain and Mesidor. Also, Mesidor has the elbow injury that we'll get back to here in a second, but he will be wearing a brace on that elbow. That allows Miami to create third and long opportunities where maybe they could force Mendoza into a mistake or force a punt. Not saying that Fernando Mendoza makes mistakes because he hasn't made a lot of them, but anything's possible, Coach Drew. I think James Brockmeyer, the center on the offensive line for Miami, is going to be huge because Indiana runs a lot of stunts and a lot of simulated pressures. And so I believe Brockmeyer is an all ACC offensive lineman at the center position. He needs to get their offensive line and help the quarterback keep everything organized in terms of what we're running, identifying the Mike linebacker, identifying pass protections, and communicating all this stuff. Those are my key players. I mean, obviously, they're going to need a burst play from the wide receiver position. They're going to need Mark Fletcher to be a dog all day, but I don't question whether Mark Fletcher is going to be a dog all day. I just don't, because Mark Fletcher was born a dog and he'll die a dog. I love Mark Fletcher. But those are the key pieces that will help support Mark Fletcher and Carson Beck to have success, that will support Keontae Scott being able to get a pick six or make a play on defense. As far as Indiana, this one's easy for Big Ten fans and IE fans that have been watching us. Elijah Surratt needs to be Elijah Surratt. Third down and red zone, Megatron, devastation player. You cannot defend him. You guys saw the Oregon Ducks try to tackle him while he was catching the ball. He just catch it. If Elijah Surratt is Elijah Surratt on third down and in the red zone for Indiana, Indiana will be fine offensively. Deangelo Pons. Keep being Deangelo Pons. You cannot throw at Deangelo Pons. Coach Drew, did I tell you that the city of Bloomington just named a pond after Mr. Deangelo Pons, my favorite Indiana Hoosier right now? I believe it's called...
we were meant to do that pregame. Pretty interesting.
I think it's called Deangelo's Pond. So that's nice. That lives on forever.
Are ducks allowed on there?
At their own peril, Coach Drew. At their own peril.
There might be a number 5 fish lurking in there that might get them. A good pike.
Yeah. A pike, yeah, dude. A pike will eat a duck any day. Front 7 players for Indiana. I got Tyreek Tucker in the middle, all Big Ten, made some All-American teams. Tyreek Tucker, clog in the middle, and then Isaiah Bones-Jones at linebacker creating havoc plays. Tackles behind the line of scrimmage, tip passes, interceptions. Now, again, I'm not saying that Aiden Fisher at linebacker won't have a big game for Indiana, but when Indiana really whips somebody's ass, Isaiah Bones-Jones is always there wreaking havoc. And Tyreek Tucker is always there to mess somebody up in the middle. If those guys don't produce, that is a problem for Indiana's defense. And I'll go over Miami's injuries real quick. Defensive back Damari Brown is considered day-to-day right now. And I watched the press conference with Mario Cristobal. O.J. Frederick at defensive back is apparently good to go. Coach Drew, they're not just good to go, they're full bore. They're 100% go in practice. These guys that couldn't finish the last bowl game, according to their head coach, they're 100% good to go, man. They're full bore. Like, they're running Oklahoma drill in practice. Coach Drew told me, guys, that Oklahoma drill is apparently outlawed in 49 states. They're running Oklahoma drill. They're full bore. They're good to go. The defensive line, they said that Akeem Mesidor, one of my favorite Hurricanes, he's also full bore, also good to go. When he had a RoboCop brace on his elbow at the end of the last game, I'm sure that he got his elbow hyperextended, but he's full bore, Coach Drew, full bore, good to go. I'm not saying it's to make fun of injuries for the Hurricanes, but as the head coach should do, he's not going to tell you like, well, this guy, his elbow's fucked up. I don't think he's any good this game. I'm being realistic about it, but I mean, as Coach Drew called me Detective Nick, I watched the coaches' conferences and then look at the injury listings, and I'm like, okay, he's lying about this guy. He's not full bore. He's not. This guy's day-to-day. This guy's questionable. So I make my guesses about it. I'm not telling you to bet money based on what I'm telling you, but I am telling you that there's no way all these guys are full bore, 100% good to go. Miami is unfortunately kind of banged up right now, and I think the defensive backfield is going to hurt them. I think Akeem Mesidor on the defensive line is going to hurt them as much as anything, although this defensive line is fantastic. They're a deep group. So I still don't think Indiana comes out and like just rolls over them running the football. But if their defensive backs are actually out and slowed down in this game, that could spell big trouble with the big 3 receiving corps of Surratt, Cooper, and Charlie B from Tennessee. You can't be short at defensive back and defend that, especially when Indiana has a running game going.
I think one of the things, now comparison's the thief of joy. One of the things that I always compared though in the previous years is if you're going to win a national championship or even sniff this area of time of year in a 12-team format, 4-man format, you have to have a thing called a defense. And Boy, let me tell you, Indiana has a defense, and not only do they have a good defense, it is it doesn't give up a lot of dumb penalties. It's trained on when the ball moves, not on motion, not on hike, clap, 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 go, 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 move ball, give me the ball, hike, hike, hike. Yeah. So the other thing too, I do want to mention about this again, comparisons to Thief of Joy. We can compare the last year's national championship when the Ohio State took care of my Notre Dame team. One of the things about this Notre Dame team that didn't do well at the end was play stellar defense. We were a good defensive team, but we had a lot of injuries at the end. We lost our captain. Ben Morrison was out. There was a lot of stuff that added up.
The defensive tackle that you guys lost, the big boy.
Yep, the captain. That was one of the things that ended up hurting. So when I was preparing to watch Notre Dame last year, I was like, man, this is going to be awesome, but I don't know how we're going to do it because we have so many injuries. Indiana has been well coached, trained, and dodged the injury bug, while Miami hasn't. I am super excited. In comparison of the Thief of Joy again, my Bears in the NFL do not play defense well. And I'm not going to let anybody convince me differently. Yes, they lead the league in takeaways, but I'm not happy. I mean, I can't control it, but I'm not excited to watch them play the Rams. I hope they win. But for Indiana, I'm super excited to see this. This is awesome. Being a part of this whole experience and everything, I'm glad it's all documented on the Rate Game app, aren't you, Nick?
I mean, the Rate Game app is the place to go tell people how your thoughts and feelings were when you watch the game, or later if you come back and just say, in retrospect, this Indiana-Alabama game means a lot to me as an IU fan because it was on their path to making the national championship and hopefully winning said national championship. But yeah, Nick George and the Rate Game app people, they have created I hate to use this phrase, but a safe space where you can go on and talk about sports, and it's not like Twitter or X where people are just talking trash to you all the time. There is actually a comparing of notes of how you felt about this game versus how I felt about it. There's a couple games, Drew, where they were a defensive battle. Miami, Texas A&M was one of them. And there's a user on there, Raven, I think is their user handle, and they thought the game was kind of slow and boring. And I said, well, I like defense and I like tackling. And so we talked about this, and then nobody was mad at anybody at the end. We're just like, hey, nice talking to you again, man. And we do live chats on there, where again, it's just hardcore sports fans that are there for ball, not nonsense. And that's what Rate Game's all about, Coach Drew. I've enjoyed being on Rate Game.
Well, this might be our last game we're going to rate, and we're going to rate the hell out of it. The Rate Game
So
will
hard.
live on. There will be
So
baseball, hockey, you name it. If there's a sport, it's on the Rate Game. And trust me, when we come back in August, right after we get done celebrating the long Indiana victories of many months, we'll get right back on a Rate Game and telling you guys everything about it. I thought for sure you're doing the old you.
No, I was doing prairie ants, Coach Drew.
Prairie dance, yes.
Yeah.
Many of you guys don't know this. This isn't part of the Midwest Goodbye, but I do want to mention we did where did we go to? That farmer's place? Tractor supply, so we can
Tractor
get
Supply.
we get some warm pullovers.
Yeah,
And there's a
post
video
that.
I have. Maybe I'll post it if Indiana wins, but it was Nick going,
Indiana wins.
you. We were documenting that game last year before we even had a podcast.
I had to try on my new Carhartt overalls that I bought when Indiana played at South Bend against Notre Dame in negative 37-degree weather. And to test and see if they fit, I had to do the IU thing in the overalls. It worked out in the long run, not in the short run, Coach Drew.
Well, sometimes it's better to let it marinate because guess what? We got something cooking up this weekend.
I was going to say something, Coach Drew, about injuries for Indiana. Indiana has had some injuries, but the over cliched, barf-worthy next man up or plug and play phrase has applied to Indiana this year in multiple instances. Most recently, even Daly, who had 19.5 tackles for loss, injured himself celebrating post-game after the Big Ten championship game. And Ndukwe, who's come in the last game, and Ndukwe had a sack, hit a blocked punt, and Ndukwe's living in the backfield. And Ndukwe was a guy, frankly, halfway through the year, I was like, wait, who is that again? Like, I barely knew who he was. And he's out there kicking ass and taking names. So this leads me into the next thing, Coach Drew. We're going to go football arithmetic and football algebra, football multiplication tables. We're going to do a lot of math here, Coach Drew, because you know that's my strength here on the Midwest Blitz, is that you're a chess coach, and I like to talk about math. I do math with crayons usually, but I'm pretty good with football math. So Stephen Daly, leading sack guy for Indiana, X with an injury. Backup comes in. Probably a 0-star guy. Didn't look it up. 0-star, 2-star, not a 3-star. Comes in, he's beating ass against top 5 teams with blue chip caliber talent ratios, Coach Drew. A lot of blue chips. A lot of blue chips getting their ass kicked right now by Indiana. So everybody has a question, Coach Drew. We're going to explore this again if and when Indiana wins the national championship. Why is everybody so surprised that Indiana is going to win? Why are they surprised that Indiana is on top right now? Is it because all the other teams are bad, or the other teams played bad, or Indiana's lucky? No, it's this. All right. Not a math guy, like I told you. I'm gonna try and help you here. Okay, so an SEC fan sees 3-3, and they go 3-3 is 6, and they're not wrong, Coach Drew. They're not wrong. 3-3 is 6. But then they see Curt Cignetti, and he takes 3-3, and he gets 9. So Coach Drew knows where I'm going with this because we talked about it. So SEC fan goes, what the fuck is that? 3-3, 9. No. 3-3 means 6. So you've got a lot of fans who've been observing one way of doing things. One way of doing things being, we're going to out-athlete you. And out-athlete means they have to be a 4-star or a 5-star, or it has to be Tim Tebow. It has to be Cam Newton. It has to be the most top-line, obvious spotlight on you superstar, and that's how you win football games. Curt Cignetti has dug into actual player development. Do you think that Deangelo Ponzo, I believe, is in his 5th year of college football, Coach Drew? Do you think he was afraid of Decoria Moore, the true freshman wide receiver from Oregon, the first time they played earlier this year, or the last time they played when he fucking picked 6 him first play of the game? Absolutely not. That's a grown man. Deangelo Ponzo, as we said again, who is my hero of this football team, at least at the moment, Deangelo Ponzo has been grinding for 5 years, Coach Drew. So these SEC fans, they think, well, if you're not all SEC the first couple of years, or you don't run a 4.3 40-yard dash, you ain't worth a dang. Well, that's not true. Because you take a kid, Coach Drew, I will say from my family's perspective, not just mine, but my family is an athletic family. We work out, we played sports, all this stuff. Me at 23 years old would beat the absolute dog you know what out of 18-year-old me. It's not because 18-year-old me didn't try hard, but if you stay in the weight room and you stay committed, or you stay in the batting cages and all that, dude, you're going to be ripping the ball, or you're going to be jumping higher, running faster, hitting harder, and you're smarter. So a lot of these SEC fans think that football is a track meet. A lot of you casual football fans think that football is a track meet. It's not a track meet. Cignetti has a combination of guys that were at Indiana. Carter Smith, unanimous All-American, maybe the best offensive lineman in the country, if we're being honest. He's got a combination of a few guys like Carter Smith and Isaiah Bones-Jones at Indiana who have just been ripping it up. And people are like, who's Carter Smith? I mean, so many people will watch this video and be like, who's Carter Smith? Carter Smith is a unanimous first-team All-American. How many times you ever hear his name mentioned on a broadcast? We haven't talked about him enough. But so the Cignetti method is 3. We're not doing 3 plus 3 equals 6. We're going to do 3 plus 3 equals 9. It's not, well, oh gosh, we recruited this 5-star and we paid him $1 million NIL, and now he wants to transfer. So now we don't have a player at that position. Cignetti has outsmarted the game, dude, but I think he has his own type of math.
Yeah, he does.
His own evaluations.
Well, I always feel like too, like when I'm playing college football, the video game, and you see that gem get unlocked, many people that recruit say, if you
the
see
green
a
gems.
Yeah, if you see a 3-star and it has a gem, that means it has more traits than a 3-star would have normally, so you're getting a better player. Cignetti, he gets 35 scholarships just like everyone else. Again, for ball knowers, that's in the video game.
Right.
You get 35 scholarships, and everyone is a gem. He has no red gems, only green gems. He gets the most out of everybody, even the transfer portal. He's like, okay, not even going to be a comparison, but ball is ball, and I do believe he'll go on the transfer portal and be like, what? You guys don't want this guy? Yoink. You guys don't want him? Yoink. I mean, that's what he's doing. Pat Coogan?
Yoink.
Your girl goes to IU? Yoink.
Yoink.
Pons, you were with me with JMU. Yoink. I mean,
Elijah Surratt, you were too slow, and now you're the best possession receiver in the world. Yoink.
He just goes out and grabs everybody. I mean, Cignetti, Google him.
Cignetti.
I want to get a t-shirt that says Cignetti. Google it.
I'm going to have them printed up, buddy. You tell me what colors you want. You want it in black and red and white?
You got to have roses in it and peaches and...
Oh, man. A whole fruit basket, Coach True.
Yeah, a fruit basket. Maybe a little Hawaiian tropical, or maybe a little tropical tree for the Miami.
They need oranges because Pons and Mendoza are from Miami. So, Coach True, let me tell you this, and we'll talk to the audience about it. I thought this was supposed to be a home game for Miami. They are playing in Miami, right, Coach True?
Yep.
Well, the problem is the most tickets have been bought by the ticket brokers that sell the tickets. The most tickets by any state purchase were purchased in the state of Indiana, and that's why we're talking about the Cignetti. So we're going to have peaches, we're going to have roses, and we're going to have oranges on this t-shirt that we're going to sell. It's, Miami fans are so passionate, and there is a core of very passionate Miami fans. I mean, if you don't love Michael Irvin, what he's doing on the sideline, then go fuck yourself. I love that. I love that they have guys that love the game that much. I really do. I loved Michael Irvin when I was a kid, so that's true stuff. But the bulk of fans, Coach Drew, in this game are Indiana fans who are desperate for success in any sport. We haven't had true basketball success for a long time. I mean, I was in high school last time they went to the Final Four. If you're thinking about how old I am, then you also go fuck yourself. We don't
do math on this show, I thought.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Coach Drew. Thank you. Indiana fans, a second largest living alumni base in the world, and B, we haven't won jack squat in a long time. We haven't been to the Final Four since 2002 in basketball. Dude, there are IU fans that are wheeling and dealing tickets that are locked in right now, and they will be locked in as long as Cignetti helps roll this. But I think a lot of these people, Coach Drew, that doubted Indiana and dismissed our fan base, they were like, there aren't very many Indiana fans. There are Indiana fans. It's hard to get passionate when your team struggles as long as Indiana had. I grew up going to games, as a lot of you realize if you've been listening to Midwest Blitz and listening to the clips. I grew up going down there and getting my heart ripped out every time I thought we were about to beat somebody. And we did. We beat some ranked teams and we had some moments. But it was tough. And I loved football. And it was really tough to be enthusiastic about a team that let you down all the time. But my dad, Coach Drew, as you know, he was like the Cubs fans before he passed away. And he said, Indiana will make it back to the Rose Bowl and they will have a great football team one day. And that's come to fruition. Thank you, Dad. You told me, and I had about lost faith in that. But it's a beautiful story for Indiana fans. So Indiana's not going anywhere because the alumni base is big enough, the fan base is big enough, and we do love football. We just didn't have a team that was easy to invest in financially and emotionally, as I could tell you in a different episode. But yeah, Cignetti is about to happen. And you know what? Even if it doesn't, even if Miami plays a great game and Indiana loses, Indiana fans will not be dissuaded. They'll be almost as happy. I'll be just as happy. If Miami plays a great game and Indiana loses, my thoughts and enthusiasm about the future will not be impacted one way or the other. They won't, because I see what Cignetti's built. I see what Scott Dolson and University President Pam Whitten have built, Coach Drew. And that's why we're wearing black, because this is Miami's funeral. This isn't a one-off. This isn't Dan Le Batard, who's based out of Miami, who's trying to hype up Miami. Yep. Coach Drew, the big media people, they always act like, oh, all the fans are in New York. They're all in Miami. they're all in LA, they're all in Chicago. No, we're all around the world, especially the middle part of America, which is why this show is the Midwest Blitz. Midwestern people love college football, even north of the Mason-Dixon line, Coach Drew. That's what we're here for, and it just so happens that this is the magical season for Indiana. So I've had a great time with anybody who's willing to listen to us, but I mean, me and Coach Drew love college football, so this has been a lot of fun seeing Indiana be the team that makes it this far. Coach Drew, before the season, they said, "Who is this year's Indiana?" And I was like, I think Indiana is this year's Indiana.
Indiana's this year, Indiana. And we know they're going to stay around and they're going to be here for a long time because they went into the portal. They got the guys they need. They are very self-aware that people are leaving, not because they want them to leave, but it's time to let them graduate. There's a system. You're looking at something that is going to be there for a while. I remember I posted a video. I do a lot of social media here if you guys didn't know us or you guys are still with us 41 minutes in. But I said Cignetti has the formula.
Natty.
And one guy's like, yeah, the formula is winning games and all this stuff, but how do you know if it's sustainable is what we're going to see in a few years? And I'm like, yeah, I bet you're fun at parties too, bud. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm having a glorious run. I'm not going to put my personal business out there, but Nick knows. But that's like you saying, well, yeah, but how do we know this is sustainable beyond this year, Coach Drew? I mean, geez, why do you have to be a Debbie Downer? Indiana didn't even know what down was. They were just Indiana.
No, we just lived down there where down was. And that
You're
was
like, you're like Debbie Downer. You're like, this is
we
normal.
could make a bowl game? Oh my God. We lost a bowl game? That's the best. I mean, that's really how it was.
When Drake said 0 to 100, this is my ish, I think that's what he meant by Indiana's football program because they went from 0 to 100 real quick.
I mean, if anybody has any brains in the world of athletic directors or coaching, as soon as Cignetti retires, and he's under an 8-year contract right now, the school that wants to win the most in the country will hire him as a consultant. They will. They'll hire athletic director Scott Dolson as a consultant. And then I doubt Pam Whitten wants to be a consultant, but she could do forums for athletic directors about how to improve the return on investment in your athletic program. Indiana is ROI. They're rewriting the playbook on how to make college football a return for your university, not just your athletic department, for your university as a whole. Now, look, can everybody turn their program around and win a national championship in 2 years? No, but there's a lot of teams who have allegedly been trying to win a football for a long time under different leadership, i.e. Indiana, who said, oh, we're going to win this year. Oh, we got a new coach. We're going to win. Look what happens, Coach Drew, when you actually put your mind to something as an organization. I'm not an organization guy. I'm an independent contractor, literally and figuratively. I do everything by myself because I don't trust people besides Coach Drew. I don't trust people when they tell me, yeah, I want to help you fulfill your goals and we're going to work together. Most people who say that with enthusiasm are just trying to get something out of you. And that was kind of the deal with IU football. They hire a coach and they're like, oh, we're going to win. I hear Cignetti tell this story. I've listened to it multiple times. He goes, I walked into the coaching office and the rug was pink, meaning it had been red for Indiana, but it was there for so long it had never been changed. Nobody.
I'm glad you added context because I was like, wait, what?
Nobody.
I was thinking of like a hot pink rug. Like the guy, the last guy was having a grand time. Tim Allen was just like, yeah, dude, I just like pink rugs.
The first time I heard it,
what is this?
The first time I heard it, that's what I thought. I'm like, the rug was pink. What the hell? And then after I listened to it several times, I was like, oh no, it was the same rug that had been there since the early 80s, late 70s. Nobody cared enough to like spruce the office up with actual viable school spirit, decorations.
At my old school, my old college, that was called school spirit, Nick. Okay. We had the orange rugs from the 70s. Okay. Everybody was like, why do we have those? Those are so ugly. It's because our school didn't want to change out because we were too poor, but it was called school spirit, Nick. All right. I want you to embrace this. Okay. All right. That pink was earned through sun bleach, tears, and salt. All right.
That's over now. And that's what it takes. I think that as I try to be less militant in this closing of the show, where I told you guys last time that there were, alleged experts that lied to you and told you they thought Alabama was going to beat Indiana because it was convenient for them. I'm not right all the time. Coach Drew's not right all the time, but we're telling you the truth about college football the way it stands right now. What Alabama did 5 years ago, even what Ohio State did 5 years ago, although Ohio State is still terrific, none of that means jack squat. That's like me telling you how when I was 22 years old, I could dunk a basketball. I'm old now. My left ankle's messed up. I ain't touching the rim again. I'm sorry. I wish I could. This yearning for the past is over. It doesn't matter what you did 5 years ago. And Indiana has rewritten the playbook on what college football success is going to be. The teams that are smart will adopt it. Here's a question, Coach Drew, though, because we want to do question and answer. All right, Vanderbilt's an obvious example, and I know there's a couple other teams that are trying to do something adjacent to what Indiana has done. How many teams do you see, or how many teams do you think have figured this out? And how many of the blue blood programs and how many of the SEC teams do you think have figured this out? The formula is now set, but how many people have started to catch on? That's my question.
All right, great question. I'll give you an answer. Okay, so we're looking at Vanderbilt. What is Vanderbilt known for? History lesson, go.
The Vanderbilt family
That controlled the what?
oil and train cars and
Trains.
whatnot.
Trains, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
What did we learn about Texas Tech? Where did their money come from?
Well, Lubbock is in West Texas in the heart of oil country, so that was an easy one.
All right. What did we learn about Indiana and who backed them up?
Talk about Cuban.
Yep, we got Cuban and different things.
Well, sports media is something that actually runs pretty deep through Indiana.
Yep.
And the fact that they have so many living alumni. And Indiana doesn't have the biggest undergrad enrollment compared to other teams like Ohio State and other big state schools, but I find it interesting that they have such a large living alumni base. So that means the most people have graduated from there. I don't know if that's where you're going with this, but.
Well, where I was going with this was we wanted to identify teams that could possibly be tomorrow's team, like
Indiana,
Vanderbilt,
or
all that stuff.
Texas. Texas Tech did a good job on defense this year. They got a good quarter. They got Brennan Sorsby, right?
Yep, they did.
Yeah.
The team that I want to point out is Illinois. Illinois has a lot of alumni that went through that college. And also, if you guys didn't know this, Illinois colors are the same as the Chicago Bears because there is a correlation there. Another team that I want to point out that could run the table that we haven't seen in a while, Northwestern. Northwestern has a new stadium, right? They hired some really good offensive coaches and quarterback coach.
Chip
Right.
Kelly. Chip Kelly's the
Kelly's the
guru
OC.
of the running game.
And then they also have the quarterback coach from UCLA, Thor.
That was a
Right.
nice pickup. Yeah.
You might even see a small school, a school that's not even part of the P5 that might come up. Western Michigan had nobody go really into the transfer portal, so they retained all their guys, right? We're also
Western
ahead.
Michigan had a bunch of all MAC players too. The nation's leader in sacks. He's going to the NFL, but the quarterback, the running back, they got a receiver, a couple DBs. Yeah, they do have most of the guys back. They're gonna be loaded for bear in the MAC.
I think another team you look at is James Madison, right? They're here.
They got Billy Napier, right?
Yep, they got people that are going there because they know that they can stop there and go to a bigger place. What about this one, Nick? Maybe Jerry Jones goes back to his alumni and tries to put some money in the Razorbacks.
Ooh, well, I don't know what old Jerry's been waiting on, but he could do that. He definitely could. Yeah, I mean, okay, that's a good point. Also, Arkansas should have Walmart money. If you guys don't know, Walmart
Chicken
is
money.
Tyson Chicken money. Walmart's based in Arkansas. The Walton family's the royal family of Arkansas, as far as I'm aware. I mean, there are a lot of schools, Coach Drew, and you're the compass now pointing towards true north of the other teams, of many that have a chance to do kind of what Indiana's done. But I think that it starts with the leadership. And with some of these SEC teams, their leadership thinks, oh, we hire Lane Kiffin, we win Natty in 2 years. Oh, sorry. We hire Brian Kelly. We win a Natty in 3 years, or we fire him and pay him a $75 million whatever payout. That's not the leadership that's going to succeed in modern college football. Drew, that was a wonderful little dissertation you did there. The opportunities are everywhere, but you know what I've learned about opportunity? If you're closed-minded, you never see opportunity. You could see a $100 bill on the ground and go, oh, I don't have time to bend over and pick it up. And that's just life in general.
Yeah, and I also do want to point out that I did try to pick out some teams that are like pretty like on the up, or
You did.
teams that I feel like could have an opportunity. I mean, I could be completely wrong. I mean, I know everybody when Deion Sanders was hired at Colorado and he brought in Warren Sapp, he brought in Lil Wayne, like on the sidelines, he brought in all these celebrities, he brought all the bling and fling and everything. Deion Sanders is a great human being in the sense of a head coach making sure all his players sit in the front. He's done a lot of great things for Colorado. But here's the but. It is not seeing the success on the football field.
Is Colorado, though, okay, being a good promoter as a coach when the main game in college football is recruiting? In the NFL, you have a draft, and then you have free agency, but the talent gets divvied up pretty evenly. Historically, in college football, that's not the case, although it is more the case now than it was before with NIL, revenue share, et cetera, et cetera.
Well,
but Deion maybe didn't have the support staff or the donor base in place at Colorado. He brought, kind of like Cignetti, he brought his own talent with him, and he took a team that won like 2 games and then won 4 games, then 8 games, produced a Heisman winner, produced some high-round draft picks. The Horn kid at receiver, son of NFL receiver Jimmy Horn, I think it's Jimmy Horn Jr., he brought guys with him, kind of like Cignetti did. But did they have the resources and funding to pay NIL to retain guys? I mean, Khalil Benson, offensive lineman who's currently at Indiana, had transferred from Indiana to Colorado, transferred back to Indiana. So the coach is only one part of it. And that's why I keep bringing up Scott Dolson and Pam Whitten, is that you have to have the AD and the school president. It can't be one or the other. It has to be all three, the coach, the AD, and the university president. If you don't have all three, now you're in a bind. And frankly, Coach Drew, I don't think a lot of these people, whether they realize it or not, as far as the presidents and the athletic directors of these schools, they don't get to where they're at by being open-minded and being open to new ideas. They get there by knowing who they know. And the people who they know are the old guard who are used to doing things the old way. And this is why I question the Lane Kiffin situation at LSU. You just struck out by stealing, I'm going to use the word steal loosely, but you stole a coach from another big-time program, Notre Dame. You went down there and struck out. So you think the answer is to do the same thing and steal a coach from another program, and you think that doing the same thing gets you a different result. Time will tell. But they're definitely not embracing the new model of college football, and I think that's the problem these SEC teams have.
Well, and I know I just kind of gave Colorado a bad sour taste. I know they're not watching this. But again, for true fans who have made it this far, they did get a Heisman winner, and that is a victory. Okay, whether it's not a national champion, I get it. You can't win every game, and it's hard to win in Colorado. It's not what Cignetti's doing is not normal, and I'm glad it's not normal because it's a beautiful thing for the sport. Cignetti. Maybe like the cig when you did the dash to be like a cigarette with smoke coming out of it, and then natty.
Keep talking, Coach Drew. I'm going to do that for the fans.
This is we also do support Bob Ross, and he went to Ball State, so we're just making colorful mistakes.
Happy accidents, Coach Drew.
Happy accidents. This is a $1 million t-shirt idea. Look at that.
The
Cignetti. You can make the cigarette look like a national championship.
We're not promoting tobacco use here on Midwest Blitz.
I mean, bubblegum smoke. Jeez. Are we at the Midwest goodbye yet? Is this where we're headed now?
I think we just wrapped it up. What do you got on the Midwest goodbye, Coach Drew?
Well, fun story. This is a shout out to Dan DeLeon. We talked about this earlier today. I just want to let you know that the Miami Heat did beat the Phoenix Suns. This was a side bet Coach Drew had with him. Very funny story. I told him about, On the Midwest Blitz, we like to look at different angles and different things. We like to look through different lenses. Maybe not. He was telling me how the Phoenix Suns are this and Phoenix Suns are that. I said, what party areas are in the Phoenix land area? And then he told me, he's like, well, I don't know. I said, now tell me about Miami. And did Phoenix party? Miami 127, Phoenix 124. Don't go against Coach Drew. When he sees something, he calls it out.
Well, the nightlife in Miami has been notoriously bad for visiting NBA teams for a long time.
But not Cignetti and boys, because he's going to have them locked in their doors. Listen, is this a business trip or a fun trip? And the answer is a business trip. Once you win the championship, you can do whatever you want in a context.
Well, okay, the distractions of Miami being at home, now that it looks like Indiana fans are going to buy just as many, if not more tickets, the distractions of it being in Miami are probably heavier against Miami. I heard some Miami guys got the flu before their last game. I don't know if you guys ever heard about Jordan's flu game where he hit the legendary game winner in game 6 against the Jazz, but there's a lot of conflicting stories about what kind of flu Michael Jordan had. Now, Michael Jordan was good enough to play 36 rounds of golf and then score 30 points in the first game of an Olympic game in Barcelona in 92. I don't know if Miami has anybody that good, but yeah, you better be on your P's and Q's. You better mind curfew because Indiana will. Indiana won't be out having fun on the town. They'll be having fun in their dorm room playing Xbox and watching film with Deangelo Pons and Aiden Fisher and Mendoza. That's going to be their nerd fun, like the Thunder in the NBA. Those guys are a bunch of nerds in a good way. Those guys don't party. They play ball, they eat healthy, and they play Xbox together.
Did you hear?
Good team dynamic.
That is a great team dynamic. Did you hear the Peach Bowl sold out of alcohol because of Indiana fans?
And I didn't even show up to the game. Imagine that. So, hey, Hoosier Nation, applaud.
I don't know if we could go 2 for 2 at Miami, but I thought that stat was pretty funny. I looked at that and I saw they're like, yeah, they had to stop selling alcohol, not because they were cutting them off, because they didn't have any more.
Well, I'll tell you what, that doesn't happen in Bloomington anymore. You can go down there and you can't get any food, you can't get any water, but holy smokes, they got beer everywhere.
Well, once Northwest Indiana gets the Bears, maybe the Atlanta Falcons will move to Indiana too, because they know that their ticket sales and alcohol sales will be up through the roof.
Some cities are spoiled, Coach Drew. That's how you lose a team.
Well, I don't really got much to say. I just wanted to make sure I got my few jokes in at the end, as I promised.
I appreciate that, Coach Drew. Well,
it's last preview of the season. Don't
Miami
cry
Hurricanes, you had a great season. Thanks for showing up to your hometown stadium. We look forward to seeing you there. Very much look forward to
Maybe
it.
Indiana's going to wear black jerseys with black helmets. We'll just make a random rumor.
You know, they took team pictures and they have black and reds that they have worn in like photo ops, but they never worn them. I doubt they do that. They'll just wear the cream and crimson.
It's very classy. Well, last sign-off preview of the season. Coach Drew signing off.
Thank you guys for being here. Go Hoosiers.
Hoosiers.
Hoosiers.